All Elite Wrestling returns to Texas with Dynamite and Collision in San Antonio at the Boeing Center at Techport on Wednesday. Wrestling icon and legend Kevin Von Erich is here with me now to talk about his incredible career and, of course, All Elite Wrestling as well. Thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, Texas is a big part of your career. You've won plenty of gold here. Looking back at your journey, what's the biggest thing that you're the most proud of?
Well, there was a time when uh, when the part of Texas I was from, up in Denton County, it was kind of like everything reminded me of my brothers, and I wanted to get away. So I moved out to Hawaii. And for about 20 years, I lived there. I moved back here about 2 years ago. But I'll tell you one thing about Texas to missing it is you want to make yourself love Texas, move away from it. And so I missed chicken fried steak and I missed tamales, beans and rice with a chip for a spoon. And I just missed all that so much. When in Hawaii, I ate mostly duck and lamb and a lot of fruit because we raise sheep. And I weighed about 175 pounds in Kauai. I'm skinny. But then I moved back to Texas and I'm 195 again, because I'm eating Mexican food and chicken fried steak and all the stuff that I like. But it's just that would really get you. I mean, I love Texas and knew I'd miss it, but I never knew I'd miss it that much. And I miss, the wildlife. Like in Hawaii, we really don't have any mammals, a bat, but that's really it. And my kids have never really seen snow and a squirrel or things like that. We don't even have a buzzard in Kauai. We used to have a hawk. We don't even have that. It's just different for them. And then it was great for me to live out in the tropics, like that with the spear fish from throwing the net and, catching lobsters on the reef at night was a great life. But I have granddaughters and daughters, and my daughters are mommies now, and their children are going to look for husbands one day. And I want them to look for Texas boys. There's only 70,000 people in Kauai, and so yeah, that's really important to me now. Things change. There was Kev, the little kid, and the wrestler that it was all about make as much money as I could and furthering my career. But when you get older to this age and I've got grandchildren and all, I mean, you really change so much. I mean, I love to be with my grandkids. I mean, I go with them. We play all the time, even just throwing rocks or Hot Wheels or whatever. It's just monster trucks. It's always something to do with family that's way beyond anything great that I've ever experienced. Family is without a doubt the best thing we've got going for us.
And you've traveled all across Texas. You've been Laredo, Rio Grande Valley, San Antonio. You've been to every portion of Texas. What's
At
been
least
your
twice.
what's your favorite area to visit?
Oh, well, it's here. See, when I lived up in Denton, I lived out in the open, but as I flew back from Kauai 20 years later to look at it, it's all houses. There's no way I could live in the country there, but down here is where the clear water is. And my brothers and I loved it down here in the hill country because of the water. We all spearfish and dive and scuba dive, and it was just so this is one day we all wanted to move down here. And I'll tell you the truth too, we got a show coming up in San Antonio where it used to be the Joe and Harry Freeman Coliseum and the Hemisphere Arena had great wrestling every Thursday night. And man, the fans were great, even more responsive than in Dallas. And I'm not kidding, they really were. We loved all the wrestlers loved to come here. But this AEW crowd it's a different kind of wrestler in the way that when I was doing it, we were I hate to say this, but we were kind of glorified thugs, I mean, a lot of us, my brothers and I, we were all about getting better and athletics and all, but for the most part, wrestlers were a bunch of beer drinkers and hell raisers, and nowadays the kids are there are no drugs in the locker room. These kids are all about success, doing their very best, not cutting any corners, working harder than the next guy. It's just like the Von Erichs. That's how we approach wrestling. While these guys have big bellies hanging out, we're going to be in shape. And my brothers and I, we're never tired in the ring. We're always in top condition. And so it's like my vision of wrestling got to come full circle because I've seen this is the day that I was really hoping for in AEW. I think it's going to lead the industry with these with the hungry young talent they have. I think they're really onto something, and it's going to be a great show.
Now, you've actually been helping coach a lot of those that are on the roster. Have you seen the younger talent kind of be receptive to your coaching? And what do you hope that they take away from some of the lessons that they've been learning with you?
Well, I'm telling them stuff like be careful, really, because we get injured a lot. And when you're young, you don't feel any of it, and you don't care either, because the adrenaline is at such a level in your body that I don't know how they wrestled during COVID with an empty arena. I couldn't do that. And I don't think any of us could because we need that energy from the people. That's what drives us on. And there are things that I did in the ring that I could have never practiced them. I got killed, but I can do it with 10,000 people screaming. I can do it, but it's just something else. It's like a unique thing about professional wrestling that no other sport has. I'm grateful for it. And these guys today, they don't waste motion. They're really fluid. Their counters, takedowns, reversals, everything is like instantaneous to them. They just come up with it, and that takes a lot of wrestling to get to that degree. And I'm proud to say I'm seeing it from AEW, and I'm looking forward to my
So,
sons will be there. They're tigers.
and that's what I was going to ask. Your sons have actually continued your legacy by jumping into the ring, and they actually held gold with Dustin Rhodes as the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team Champions. Did they feel the pressure to live up to the Von Erich name?
As a matter of fact, yeah, and that's immense. It is big, especially this movie came out. I don't know if you saw it, but it's about us and all that. And I never would have changed my name. I don't believe in a curse. And like according to the movie, we're cursed. My sons have to live with that, and there is no curse. We're blessed, very blessed. I wake up happy every day, and my sons are hungry, and they want to make it in this business on their own. And it's a savage business, but I mean, they've got what it takes, and they're tigers. And it's like in wrestling, if you want to be a king, you got to kill a king, and that's just the price. But it's kind of worth it. It's the only sport like that.
So, what was it like for you to get back into the ring in Dallas at All In, Texas with your sons?
Crazy. It was like when I saw friends I haven't seen in so long. It's like, man, I like my feet weren't even touching the floor. It was like, I never thought I'd miss them so bad. But well, I guess I did know I'd miss them, but it was just great. Texas, we have a thing about brotherhood. We really do. I remember before I left, I think Jimmy Carter was president way back in the 80s, and a tornado had hit one of our cities. I think it was Marlin, Texas, but they didn't declare it a disaster zone, and the people needed some help. And we wound up doing a wrestling show, and it went great. And to see people pull together and help each other that didn't care a bit about skin color, and a lot of the politicians game. We in Texas love each other, and Oklahoma too, and Louisiana and Arkansas. I've seen it. People do love each other, and that's what I missed about Texas, and that's what I'm so glad to be back amongst Texas, because we open the door for girls. We don't honk the horn because it scares people. We're just decent here, and not that Hawaiians aren't, but they do have that that LA kind of mentality out there a little bit, but there's no place like Texas.
So obviously you've been in the trenches, you've been dealing a lot with the people in Ring of Honor and All Elite Wrestling. Who are some of the highlights? Who are some of the wrestlers that you see going big, going all the way in the next round here?
Well, I've made this mistake before for naming names, because when I do that, I leave guys out, and that's so unfair and it's so harsh. But when I see anyone out there Von Erich style, where they're waking up early in the morning and going to bed early at night, they're trying to get better every day. I salute them, and that's these kids. I'm so proud of them. They work their butts off. They get in the ring and leave it in the mat, leave it on the mat, and so I'm proud of them. I know they're working hard. None of my sons they've been put in the business a long time. I sent them, see, I didn't want them to wrestle.
Mhm.
And so I sent them to Japan. And Japan is way different than America. You live in a dojo and it's wrestling all day and all night. And you sleep, but you build the ring, you bow, you carry luggage, they abuse you. I mean, it's really a big thing about it. It's a Japanese thing. So I sent my sons over there thinking that it would put the fire out, and it didn't. They love them in Japan now, and they stepped up and had some bloody wars, but they're so respected in Japan. And it was a great start for them in the business, because people would say, like they said to me, that you only do this because your dad's a big shot, and they'd say that to my sons, but it's not. They've earned it their own way to go to Japan and be as honorable as they did those 2 years. It was just, I can only salute that. And any wrestler that pays the price like that, I salute all of them.
So if people want to check out All Elite Wrestling, Dynamite, and Collision, that's going to be at San Antonio at the Boeing Center at Techport on Wednesday. And of course, they can always check out the show on TNT. Kevin Von Erich, first off, I do want to thank you very much for your years of work in the ring, and of course for joining me today. We really appreciate it.